Hey everyone, I'm back with another easy tutorial for you guys, and this time we're making a cute neon Tetra Fish. I recently got hold of some of the Primo Opal Effect clay and decided to try it out for this video, but any very light translucent colour should work just fine for this. Okay, so the first step is to shape the body for your little neon, and this is done by manipulating the clay into a sort of lopsided diamond shape. You just want to make sure that you tease out a tail shape by gently pulling on the clay. Then you need to press the main bulk of the body into a sort of half horizontal diamond by pressing and pulling to make the bottom corner while smoothing out the top corner. This is probably easier to just watch as I seem to be a bit rubbish at explaining. Okay, so next to make the mouth. I'm using a needle tool to gently indent a line around the front of the face and then just extending this line slightly to each flat side of the fish. Neon Tetras have a bright blue line across their bodies, so to replicate this I'm using some of this light blue colour, and it's actually one of Sculpting's glow-in-the-dark colours that they make. So this little guy's blue band should actually glow at night, which I think is quite fun. All you need to do is roll out a thin sausage of your choice of blue, lay it onto the body of your fish, and then very gently blend it onto the body by running something like an acrylic roller or even just a smooth pencil over the top. Just gently so that you don't actually flatten the fish. You can very easily alter the shape and the width of the blue line by just adding extra thin sausages of clay and then smoothing them out as before until they blend nicely. Okay, so next to make the eye for the neon, and to do this you'll need to roll out another thin sausage of clay. I'm using the same colour I used for the body and then just blending a little bit of this light blue into the end. The neon's eye is actually pretty big compared to the size of its base, and I just happen to have a nice black bead that looked about the right size to me. So that's what I decided to use, but you can of course just roll a ball of black clay for this instead. You need to attach your eye with some liquid clay so that it's nice and secure, like I have here with this bead, and then all you need to do is gently wrap the thin sausage of clay you rolled out around the eye to make the sort of eye socket area. For the gills of the neon, I'm just using my needle tool again to indent a curve just below the eye. The needle tool I'm using is from a set of double-ended Sculpey tools, and on the other end of mine is this circle thing, which I'm going to press repeatedly onto the clay to give a more scaly look to the fish, but anything with a curved edge would probably work well for this. Something like a pen lid or even a button I'm sure would work great. Finally, I'm just pressing some clay, which is the same colour as the body, flat, and then cutting out the fins from it. I'm just doing this quite roughly by eye. Anything sort of fin shape will look great, so don't worry too much about being overly accurate with this. To give the fins some texture, I'm just pressing the end of a blade into the clay quite gently. The hardest part is probably making the tail, which requires bending a thick sausage of clay into a sort of boomerang shape and then rolling it flat and cutting away any excess until you're happy with the size. I'm not going to attach the fins to the fish straight away, but I'm actually going to bake them first. Once the fins have baked, then you can attach them to your fish with some more liquid clay. I find that this goes some way to helping to strengthen these quite fragile parts, as you can really push the oven hardened fins into the body of the fish nicely and seal them in with the liquid clay, whereas if you attach them before baking you would only really be able to blend them into the surface of the fish's body, and that can create a bit more of a weak spot. Once all the fins are attached, I added 2 eye pins to the neon as I'd like to make it an ornament, but this is obviously optional. I decided to add the finishing touches to the neon with some acrylic paint after it had baked. They have some red colouring on half of their bellies, which extends onto their tail a little bit, so I just dabbed this on slowly with some red paint. Then to make the bright blue stripe stand out a bit more, I just shaded either side of it with a much darker blue colour using acrylic paint again. Because the clay is so translucent, it can be a bit hard to actually see the texturing, so I just lightly washed over the neon with some diluted brown paint just to add a bit more definition to the textured parts. But again, this is completely preference, don't do this if you don't like the way it looks, it's up to you. I also added a few dabs of white near the gills and some other areas that I wanted to highlight, and then to finish it off I applied a good coat of glossy glaze, and that just helps to make the neon look wet like a fish. In terms of size, my neon is actually huge compared to the real fish, so if you want to go for something more realistic, then I'd scale down the size of everything a little, maybe even print out an actual size picture of a neon to help you with dimensions. But as I'm using this as an ornament, a bigger fish is fine. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this and that maybe it's given you some ideas for your own crafting. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!